Hello and welcome to Willow Talk, another big week ahead of cricket chat. Adam Peacock here alongside in the studio, Alyssa Healy. Heels.
Hi.
How was New Zealand? How was everything over there?
Yeah, I love that everyone knew that I was there, but yeah, it was a good time. The girls are looking good over in Wellington, so it was a nice way to finish the summer.
I told our audience that you just bailed on us last week for the second episode that we did, so that's all right. We covered. It was like end of season drinks in Wellington or Willow Talk, and it was a real toss-up, but I decided last minute to go to Wellington. Real bat flip there for you, wasn't it? And you chose hills and got flats and went to New Zealand. Anyway, that's the way it goes.
I was really upset about it.
We've got a special guest today joining us. It's great to hear this man. We hear him across the summer on Triple M. He's on Channel 7 as well, and coming to a golf course near you, I dare say, in Adelaide, knowing him. Greg Blewett, how are you, Blewy?
I'm very good. What a great time of the year it is. Obviously, the cricket's wound up over the weekend, but a great time in Adelaide for golf, as you said.
We will, of course, lead the show when we get to the lead of the show, Blewy, about what went down in Adelaide on the weekend. Shield froth, as we call it here at Willow Talk, at its very, very best, mate. What a weekend for the SACAs.
Yeah, huge weekend. And I'm not sure if you saw any of the vision, but the crowds, all 4 days, it went late into the fourth day, but yeah, very reminiscent of the crowd 29 years ago when they all flocked in to the Adelaide Oval. So, it is quite amazing how the Adelaide people get behind the local teams, and they're all about on Saturday night. So I think the boys are still celebrating from what I've been told, and I might just be partaking later on this afternoon, which I'm looking forward to.
Good. I'm glad we could hold you off from morning beers to maybe have a more reasonable. They were great scenes, Heels. It reminded me of the old days. You saw it in England all the time when end of a match, bang, pitch invasion. And okay, people might say, a little bit dangerous, but great.
The concussion protocols now in place did not exist at that very moment in time, because I saw Ben Menenti and Jason Sanger walking off, getting slapped on the head about 1,600 times on their way trying to get off the ground. But I loved seeing that. I mean, the guy who ran out and grabbed the first stump, legendary. Hopefully he's going to sell it on eBay. But it was really cool to see that much support for the Shield game. And Karen Rolton Oval looked spectacular with all its setup. So hopefully they keep that moving forward so people can come watch.
We'll break it down shortly on Willow Talk, exactly all of that. We'll go through the official Summer of Cricket schedule that CA announced on Monday for the men's and women's series, and looking forward to that. We'll get stuck into the IPL. Friend of the show, Mitch Starc. He got rid of
He's not our friend anymore. He's on the other one. Didn't you call him? He's not our friend anymore.
No, he's doing the rounds. Everyone does the rounds. He took some polls the other night, including the one of Travis Head, which I dare say he would have enjoyed, Blewy. And Blewy, later in the show, we're going to put you in the spotlight, reminisce a bit, because there was a very famous tour that got going 3 decades ago to the week in the Windies that you were a part of. That was a drought-breaking series.
Yes.
Remember it well, or did you get wiped away too much that you can't remember much of it?
I remember that tour very, very well. One of my favourites, actually.
Yeah. Exactly. So we'll reminisce there. But remember to hit us up on social media if you want to get in touch with the show by searching Willow Talk Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Alyssa Sport. Hello to everyone watching. George Roberts got in contact and said he's an Englishman and loves the pods. He's studying history at York Uni and writing a dissertation on cricket in the north of England.
Oh, God.
Essentially, after hearing Heels' claim about women inventing overarm bowling, I did the research and it is true.
Yes.
Verified, confirmed by James Pycroft. I don't know James Pycroft, but he sounds like he knows what he's on about with a name like James Pycroft.
I know who James Pycroft is,
Yeah? Who's that?
The guy that confirmed my my overarm bowling statement.
Jimmy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, Jimmy really well.
Yeah, good bloke. Plus, leave us a review if you can. Follow on the Listener app, Apple Pods or Spotify. Blewy to the Shield on the weekend. So we sat here, Hills and I and Hads before he went, saying, it's a bit annoying that it's not Adelaide Oval. I've got to put my hand up personally. I don't know if Hills agrees and say I got a little bit wrong because I didn't realise how good Karen Rolton Oval could look, and they made it look. So everyone who made it happen there behind the scenes at the South Australian Cricket Association, or with a bit of help from Cricket Australia, not sure who drove it, but that looked how it should look, and it made it look like an occasion, and it followed through with a great game of cricket.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Back to the Adelaide Oval first. Like, we're all disappointed that it wasn't at the Adelaide Oval. I mean, we all love that particular venue, and the Shield guys had played there most of the season, so I think they were looking forward to that as well. But when that decision went, the AFL made the decision really that it wasn't going to happen, and then they really committed to Karen Rolton Oval, and I couldn't believe how well it looked as well, because it's a beautiful ground. I mean, once you're out there, Hills, you've probably played there a little bit as well. It's a beautiful ground to be on, but from a spectator point of view, can get a little bit. It can get quite windy because it's very exposed, and it's not a great viewing ground for sitting around. And the parking is an absolute nightmare as well around Karen Rolton Oval. But they obviously made a huge effort to get some seating up and made it a really good atmosphere. So I just reckon, whoever's involved with it I think it's mainly through the SACA, and I'm sure Cricket Australia had some sort of involvement as well, but they couldn't have done it any better, and the crowds rocked up, and it was a great event. It really was.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like, oftentimes people don't necessarily come to Karen Rolton because there's nowhere to sit. It's hard to watch. It's hard to go and get something to eat, something to drink. So it's not an easy place to sort of come and watch a game. But to see the setup the way it has makes me think you could do this more often, and you could host more games, host a lot of WBBL games. Obviously, this summer we're playing at Adelaide Oval instead, but generally we're playing at Karen Rolton. So to be able to do that, obviously it's going to cost a fortune, but surely it was worth it in the long run. Well,
and we'll get to the schedule shortly, but given Cricket Australia is going to just fill up this summer with India playing some white ball cricket in the men's, and then the tour that they've got, and hopefully you do the business in World Cups and etc. And you've got the India series at the end of it. I mean, bank it up and make venues like this, maybe upgrade these venues perhaps to have that backup when footy puts its foot down and says no in the month of March and whatever. But guys, how do you sum up the game of cricket we saw, and is it the Shield final that the Shield needed?
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of comments that, long live the Sheffield Shield. It's still a great competition. I mean, I was coaching with the South Australian side a few years ago, and it's still as tough as it always has been. So, there's never really been a question, I don't think, about the standard. And I think the final was an absolute ripper. I mean, that was a huge roller coaster. Queensland getting knocked over from 95, and a lot of people would have thought, game over, but they fought back really well. Jake Lehman was brilliant in South Australia's first innings, and then Queensland, piling on the runs as you do at Karen Rolton. It can get really, really flat, and they really took it up to the South Australians. So they had to, score, nearly 270 runs in the fourth innings, and had a few scary moments as well, but it was a great game of cricket. It really was, and I think the scenes at the end of that were absolutely superb. So congratulations to everyone involved. It was brilliant, and well done to Queensland too, because they could have easily thrown the towel in at different stages throughout the season, but they had a great last half and really fought it out. It was a great game.
Yeah, exciting game of cricket, and I think Marnus summed it up after, saying that he was quite proud of the effort or the resilience that the Queenslanders showed in staying in that contest. I mean, when you get rolled for 95, you've been sent in, you get rolled for 95 in the first innings in a final, you go, this could be over really quickly. But for them to put 270 on the board and say, good luck, we're going to try and bowl you out here, and then got some early wickets, put them on the back foot. I thought it was just like the ultimate game of cricket, and shows how important the Shield still is in this country in producing our next Test cricketers. What does it say,
Blewy, about the SACA? You mentioned there a few years ago you were there coaching. Ryan Harris has come in, and it was like, I seem to remember that it wasn't definitive that he'd get the job straight away. It was a bit of a caretaker first up, and then he got confirmed. I mean, what he's done doing the double with the One Day Cup and this one, but the way that he's able to repurpose players from other states, and they're littered throughout this lineup. You've got some locals, obviously, and Alex Carey and Travis Head have done so well for higher honours, but all the way through, you've got these guys that have gone to another level by moving away from where they're from. Why?
Often it's just, people are in search of different opportunities. I mean, Jason Sanger's a great example of that. I think he has always been recognised as a very, very good player. And for one reason or another, he had a couple of really flat years at New South Wales and probably didn't see an opportunity really coming up. So he probably thought it was a great time for him to really reset, go to a different environment and get opportunities. And that's what I think, you know, sides like Tasmania and South Australia have provided different people over a long time now, is that it's obviously the depth, the population in places like Tasmania and South Australia isn't the same as the Eastern Board. So I think South Australia went through a long period of time where we're trying to probably produce local players. That didn't work because of the depth. So players are coming over and I think they just see a great opportunity, great facilities here in Adelaide as well. And I think, it's just a place to come and try and resurrect things and try and gel together as a group from players from different states.
Hills, what do you say about the game that Jack Clayton had? Golden
Cricket.
Duck run out.
Sums up the game.
Century.
Yeah. It genuinely just sums up the game of cricket. It's a real leveler, but also a real lifter. Like when you're down and out, all of a sudden you make 100 in a final and you're back, baby. But no, it's just that just sums up cricket.
Hey, Blewy, there was a photo of a guy in the outfield who just poked his head around the corner, and there was a few photos. I'm assuming he made the TV coverage as well, of a bloke decked out in full Redbacks kit with the helmet on and with the bat and the pads on.
It was Mark Cosgrove's kit.
Oh, was that you?
No, it wasn't me.
Was it someone you knew?
I've seen him pop up from time to time. I think he's quite popular on social media. I don't know which area of social media, but I think there's a few of them. DJ Checkers, and there's a few guys from over here who get around in that sort of clobber. So I know there's a guy called Jim Congdon, I think his name is, and he collects sort of retro old South Australian playing gear and also training gear as well. So I think he might have supplied some of that content as well. So
fantastic.
It's gold. I reckon a lot of the young players after the game too were wearing sort of, you know, retro SACA merchandise. So bloody brilliant, I reckon.
I wonder if that now is his Tinder profile for the next... Well, if you
Adam.
said social media, you're not sure which one. It could be that.
Could
What?
be.
I don't even know what that is.
Tinder?
Yeah.
Come on. Seriously.
Don't know.
Get with the program.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, well, I don't have it on my phone for obvious reasons.
What's wrong with it? Just going to the
However,
pub?
I know, living vicariously through other people.
Sure.
Yeah, it could be his Tinder profile. Anyway, King of the Shield. Hereby announce the inaugural winner of the King of the Shield, King of Shield Froth for this season is Alex Carey, because the way he started the season, obviously he had Australian representation to factor in as well. But it seemed, Bluey, every single time he rocked up for South Australia, he was the best player there.
Yep. I reckon, Adam, he's done that over 2 or 3 years now as well. He's batting at number 5, so very, very consistent. I still think he's really underrated. I still don't think people realise how good Alex Carey is. And Hills, you'd know more about it than me, but you know, since that Johnny Bairstow incident, I think his keeping has been absolutely first class. I think his batting suffered for a while there, but has really, you know, bounced back in the last couple of years. He has been under a little bit of pressure. There is some good depth in Australian men's cricket. Josh Inglis is an example of that. But every time he plays for South Australia, he does well. And I think his last year and a half, especially for Australia, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's as consistent as anyone going around.
Oh, 100%. And underrated is definitely the term. Undervalued, probably a big term that I would use as well. And I think it's because he's just a really unassuming guy. Everyone loves him. Yeah. Everyone who knows him loves him. He just goes about his business. There's nothing flashy about him, and that's quite rare for an Australian keeper, me included, to sort of just go about your business really quietly and get the job done behind the stumps. He's got good hands as anybody in the world at the moment, but his batting... Yes, you're right. I think he was under a little bit of pressure to go back and perform, but he did that. He went back, made runs, then got the call up again for Australia in the white ball stuff, made runs, then went to in the test stuff, made more runs. So he's just letting his cricket do the talking, which I absolutely love. I admire heavily because some of us got to use our mouth more than our cricketing skills to get us over the line. But no, I think he's severely undervalued in the country. And I think one day when he does hang up the boots and the next person comes in and does it, they go, oh, wow, actually, he was really good.
Gilly, I'm just going through.
Gilly and Kez are like quite similar. Like Gilly, obviously more flashy in the way that he played the game, I think, but sort of a similar sort of demeanour behind the stumps.
Yeah, whereas Uncle Ian.
Yeah, Haddon, Healy.
Yeah, Healy.
Payne.
Yeah, all those guys. Blewy, keepers.
Chirpy. Yep.
Pain in the bum.
Blewy, was this... how do you weigh up this as opposed to what you went through all those years ago when you set Australian cricket alight with your really entertaining 72 off 275 balls? The good thing about that is that BJ bowled that last over. So, the great Brendan Julian. But, I mean, how does it weigh up witnessing something like that as opposed to being part of it for a state that has had to wait so long in between?
Oh, yeah, I think that's the special thing, really. I mean, it is crazy that it's taken 29 years. It really is. I mean, in a 6-team competition, to go nearly 30 years without winning it is just quite unbelievable. So I was like everyone else. I mean, I just hoping that this year was going to be the year. South Australia has had a decent history in Sheffield Shield, but certainly in recent times it's been we just have been massive underachievers. So I think just the relief that I felt at the time, all those years ago, of finally getting the Shield back to Adelaide was a huge relief. But I think even more so now in these times that Ryan Harris and Nathan McSweeney, who, first year full-time captaincy as well for South Australia. Those two have obviously gelled really well too, but just a great accomplishment. And I think it's great for, Australian cricket as well.
Are you going to judge them, though, on the whole of the success based on what happens in the next couple of days as opposed to how you celebrated all those years ago? Like, can you let us in on how big that was, and are you going to judge these guys?
I had to go interstate when we won it because we got through about a week of celebrations and I was done. So I had to get on a plane and I think I went up to Queensland and laid on a beach for a week or so to just dry out. But I haven't caught up with the lads yet, so I haven't heard any stories. I've seen a few sort of snippets on the news services over here that the boys were at the pub yesterday, and I think they're going to be at a pub again this afternoon. They're actually currently in the Rundle Mall here in Adelaide. There's a big public service, and I think our premier's there, and they're getting the keys to the city. So hopefully there's plenty of people in the mall. Next to the mall's balls.
Jesus. I messaged.
Have you not walked down Rundle Mall?
Yes, I've seen them.
Yes.
Just didn't need to point them out.
That's where everyone meets.
I messaged Kez the other day. I haven't heard back, so I just said I hope your head hurts. Evidently, it might be.
What's the biggest ever celebration you've had in terms of duration?
Oh, after the T20 World Cup in 2020, where COVID locked the world down, I had like 6 months to celebrate that World Cup. So it was literally like stay in your homes and don't do anything. And I was like, all right.
Yeah. There's Healy still in a playing kit in June.
Yeah,
as we got sent back in.
Walking along the beach of a morning with my medal on. I had 6 months to celebrate. So thank you, COVID.
Good point. Yeah. Good point. Joshua B on Instagram got in touch and said, if Australia need a fast bowler anytime soon, Brendan Doggett would be a great option, surely. He bowled superbly against India A in the summer and was Shield final man of the match. Yep. 11 wickets for Brendan. Great fielder, good wheels, and the fittest bloke in Australian cricket. When you sum it up like that, you'd say he's close. In reality, where do you place him, Blewy and Heels?
He's really gone up in my estimations, I must admit. I always thought he was a very good bowler. I actually probably haven't realised until recently how good he was. And I actually, it was about a month ago, I looked at his actual Shield record and it was a lot better than I thought it was. I think not as quick as he used to be, but I think gets genuine shape on the ball. So, generally bowls outswingers to the right-hander, and still is quick enough. And I think his consistency is a lot better now as well. So, there's no doubt if he did get the call up to the Australian side, I don't think he'd let anyone down.
How remarkable is it that we've literally been complaining as a country about our fast bowling depth? But now all of a sudden people are watching the Shield cricket, people are watching the One Day Cup and the BBL and seeing all these guys that, not just the young ones coming through, but the guys have been toiling away behind the scenes for a long period of time that could be ready at any given moment. We just haven't really had the opportunity to give it to them. So it's nice that people are recognising some of these guys. I mean, McAndrew had a great year as well. Doggett had a great year. Young Vidler, I don't know if it's Vidler or Vidler. I apologise in advance, but what an unbelievable talent. So I just like that these guys that have been going around for a long period of time have either come into their own or they're finally getting recognised for some hard work behind the scenes. It's cool.
Blue, I'd say that we'd have 8 guys minimum that can be called on and go, or I'm guessing when you call a guy into an Australian team to play and it's not sure how he's going to go here, we'll find out, as opposed to he's ready, we're pretty sure he's going to go okay and be okay. I reckon there's about 8 in the moment in the guys team that could conceivably step into that role. And looking around the world, is that not the envy of other countries to say, wow, look at that depth? Fast bowling I'm talking about only. Yep,
totally agree with what both of you just said then. I've never really been concerned about our fast bowling depth at all, at any stage, really. I just think we've always got young guys coming through, and as Hill said, Vidler or Vidler, how exciting is he? He must have been bowling close to 145, I reckon, in that Shield final. So, and he's only 19 years of age. I mean, Scott Boland was one of those guys a couple of years ago where he was just he was probably seen as a very, very good Shield bowler. Not anyone who just stood out, but was just lacking an opportunity, and we've all seen what he can do. So I agree. There's probably at least half a dozen guys like that around Australia that if they got the chance, they would do very well.
The Australian cricket summer schedule is out, and
in March.
It's been through it. What do you mean in March?
Well, it's just it was funny that it was announced.
You got a plan?
In March. Yeah.
You got to lay your plans down.
All right. Sorry, carry on.
What they want to do is sell tickets. That's what they want to do. Lock away revenue. Come on. Where are we? August. Yes. Darwin and Cairns for a T20 series against South Africa, and then after that it's a one-day series in Cairns and Mackay against South Africa. Then there's a men's one-day series in October, men's T20 series best of 5 in October and November. That bleeds straight into the men's Ashes, which is well-versed, but that schedule had already come out. And then the women's series, a T20 series in February against India, goes into a one-day series against India in the end of February, start of March, and then a one-off test match at the Wacker at the start of March. Heels, I'll refer to you about what ended that little spiel there about the women's side of things. You might be looking at it going, well, why aren't the women playing more over summer? There's reasons for that with World Cups and WPL.
Yeah, the ever-changing nature of the international game, but also our World Cup windows at the moment are like September, October, and with an ODI World Cup, it basically runs from middle of September till at the end of October, which then pushes WBBL back. That runs into mid-December. So there's actually a closing window for international cricket in Australia in school holidays for us. So we've been pushed back a little bit. WPL's being moved to January, so our series are now looking like they're going to be in Feb, March, which as a player, we're not bothered too much, but I guess as fans, it's probably limiting the opportunities for them to come and watch us play with school going back and whatnot. But at the same time, this summer was really cool on the back of the Border Gavaskar to have our Ashes series sort of bookend the summer. I think next summer is going to be really cool. Post to the men's Ashes, it'll be a multi-format against India, which is one of the highlights on our calendar at the moment. Will
that
the
be
rivalry.
a points one, or are they going to break it up like they did last time at the last minute over in India?
Yeah, I'd say judging by our rules and the way we play it, it'll be a points-based system. But to get to play India at the Wacker at the end of it will be really cool. They obviously gave us a real Indian Test feel at Wankhede. I think it was, last year, the summer before. So for us to play them at the Wacker will be really fun.
So, Blewy, looking at the men's side of things, coming to a Qantas lounge near you will be an Australian cricketer from August onwards, it looks like. That's a lot of domestic travel and a lot of cricket all around the place. They've shared it around. Yeah,
well, I knew about about the white ball cricket against India. I didn't know about this series against South Africa. So if you include the Indian series, 6 ODIs, that hasn't happened for a while in the Australian men's calendar. I don't reckon you can't really call it the summer, isn't it? It's almost, what's that, spring leading into summer. So up at Marara and then Great Barrier Reef. Yeah, so it's all up north, obviously, and then another 3 ODIs against India. So they're at probably all the main grounds in Australia, and the T20 series also against India as well. So that is a hell of a lot of cricket. It really is, leading into the men's Ashes series.
I believe it's the first time in 17 years that every single state gets a game.
Yeah, wow.
Because normally there's always one that misses out throughout the summer, but it's the first time for a very long time that every single state gets a game of cricket to come and watch. So hopefully people come and watch. Interesting.
Just looking at it from a personal perspective, I like the fact that there's a men's T20 the night before the Derby Day in Melbourne at the MCG. That's good planning.
That works out well for you.
Thank you very much. Doesn't work out so well for Mark Waugh the week before because they put a day-nighter at the SCG on Cox Plate Day. So unlucky, Junior. I'm sure he'll be stoked about that, and I'm sure he'll have his phone out watching the races while the cricket's going on at the same time. But yeah, it's a pretty equal system, but it's highlighted by that men's Ashes. And Blewy, you're okay with the fact that we go Perth, Brisbane again, first 2 tests, even though this year it didn't quite work out the way that they wanted to over in Perth against India?
Still getting my head around it, to be honest. I've sort of always grown up with the Gabba being the first test match, and I love that. They're obviously, trying to make Perth, and I can't remember what they call it, the West Test or whatever they call it, but they're trying to, really get some crowds along to some international cricket there because they have struggled. They really have, especially the test matches over there. But, look, I'm okay with that. I mean, we still hit the opposition pretty hard, don't we? Whether it's Perth first or Brisbane first, but they're 1 and 2. So Perth first and then the Gabba, and then on to the Adelaide Oval, the MCG, and then, of course, always finish off with the SCG. So, yeah, still getting my head around it. I'm okay with it, but I'd still love the Gabba to have the first one.
Old school.
You'd imagine, though, Heels, that the one-day series against India, it's over a week. There's 3 games. Then they play T20s. The test guys might be involved in that one-day series, freshen up before Ashes, not used in the T20s? Or is red ball cricket the priority there and play a couple of Shield games?
That's a fantastic question, Adam, that I don't know the answer to, but I will answer it for you.
Without notice, you had no idea that was coming.
Well, yeah, I know that there was a lot of talk about this. The Shield schedule isn't out yet, but there's a possibility of 4 Shield games before the Ashes. So there's only a couple that don't play white ball. So I know they'll definitely be playing Shield cricket. Probably the question mark will be around that T20 series. Obviously, T20 World Cups, like where they're looking to moving forward, whether or not some of the older guys in the side currently will still be there for that World Cup. So maybe they might trial some youth in that series. What side India bring out as well will be an interesting one that might help make some decisions for us. But yeah, I would imagine, knowing that it is an Ashes summer, that some of the big dogs that generally play all 3 formats probably won't be a part of all of those.
Fair enough. Well, that, to me, on paper, looks like the ultimate fill-up for Cricket Australia as well. So, with India coming for 8 matches and then an Ashes. So,
unbelievable.
All the best. Drinks break, back in a sec. Back with Willow Talk. Blewy, how much, and there's no wrong answer here. It's okay because you're in SACA heaven right now, but IPL, you're soaking much in from the IPL because it comes at you pretty quick.
It does. I normally keep abreast of the scores in the morning. First thing in the morning, I sort of like to have a look at the scores and see who's won, who's lost, especially the Australians, who's done well who hasn't? I haven't watched a lot, to be honest. I've seen a few highlights here and there, but yeah, try and keep on top of all the results.
I'd just like to say, well played, sir.
Yes. Freudian slip before the break, and Blewy doubled down on it after it. But thank you, mate, staying abreast of everything. One result I got to point out here, and Sunday night, flick the TV on. Look at that, Mitch Starc charging in against Travis Head, and got him again. So I don't know if Mitch sends Travis a card from the Easter Bunny and it's a picture of him or something like that, because it's 7 innings, 29 balls, 8 runs, 5 wickets, the head-to-head stats. Is this known between the two?
Yeah, Mitch knows it. I dare say he reminds Trav of it as well. And it is in Trav's head because Trav normally faces the first ball, and every time it's Mitch opening the bowling, he doesn't. But Mitch gets stuck into him. Like, you got to come down there eventually, mate, so you may as well get it over and done with. But, you surely, as a batter, I know exactly who gets me out a lot. So you try and avoid them where possible, and bad luck, Trav.
Yeah.
How did he get him out this game, Hills? I haven't seen
Caught
how
behind.
he was dismissed.
Oh, yeah, he punched it to the keeper.
Yeah, he went for a slash over third, but there was someone down there, so he was trying to guide it fine, and punched it straight to KL Rahul.
Yeah.
And his
Well, that's a
magnificent
bit
mullet.
of a win, I reckon, for Hetty, because normally he gets his stumps disturbed by Starkey. So I'm putting that down as a win for Travis Head.
Yeah, and sometimes when you try something different, you know you're going to get out eventually anyway, and then you try something different and you get out anyway, and you're like, no, why did I bother? Like, I may as well have just stepped into the line and try and slog him over cow corner and got bowled.
I do look at those matchups, because I saw one earlier in the tournament, Mitch Marsh and Pat head-to-head, and Mitch, played a few shots and there was a bit of smirking going on. But I don't know, Blue, is it any way relatable to back in the day, Australia A v Australia, and you're playing against good mates and, you're tuning them up, you're maybe sending them where they don't want to be sent, and then you get them out? I mean, how does that relationship work? Is it more enjoyable? That's what I'm trying to get. It's like getting your brother out.
Nah. Yeah, I reckon it's more enjoyable. You know exactly what's coming as well, which can be good. It can be bad as well because, some bowlers you just hate facing, and then there's others you're just licking your lips and you can't wait for them to come on. So I think, the Australian team is very, very close, and even, the Australia A and the Australian side, there was a little bit of biffo going on at times with that series, but most of the time, it's great to, smack Glenn McGrath straight back over his head and you just let him know about it, or if he disturbs your stumps, he lets you know about it. So no, it's all good fun.
We didn't used to play Oz v Oz A. We used to just split up the Australian squad. Let's say we had 20 players in that time, and we called it Sharks v Dolphins. It was the spiciest games of cricket each year that I've ever been a part of. I've played an Ashes series, I've played World Cups against India, I've played whatever it is, but the Sharks v Dolphins still to this day brings out the most competitive parts of people, and it's because you're playing against some of your best mates.
So how do you split up Sharks and Dolphins? Is it based on personality or seniority, or what is it?
Funnily enough, what happened initially, they just split the teams and never thought anything of it. They just thought, we'll just name them Sharks v Dolphins. We'll play on the Gold Coast, so the Dolphins had to be one team. Anyway, they just split them, and they basically accidentally put two of the most competitive people in Megan Shute and me on opposite sides. So the banter was on from the beginning, and then over the years it developed, and a lot of the core players stayed in those same environments, but there was a few other players that kind of switched across and played for both sides. But every new player that came into a camp and they knew that there was a game coming up, quite literally shit themselves, because they were like, oh God, I've heard a lot about these Sharks, but the first Dolphins game, and Megan Shute would be grab them by the scruff of the neck and go, are you ready for this? Are you going to compete? This isn't a trial game. This is the game.
Bluey, it sounds a little more competitive than the old Nerds v Julio's 10-pin bowling that you used to do back in the day.
That's right. The other thing I was going to add to that, Heels, is that it's because there's no stump mics and there's no cameras, right? So you don't have to watch what you say.
Correct.
It's just you just go for it. So, I might come along to those games. They sound fun.
I haven't played one for a while. We might have to bring it back.
Bring it back before the World Cup. Televise it.
Oh, all right. Now that I've talked it up so much, we better.
Without the stump mics, maybe.
Shooter and I will still be on the opposition yelling at one another, but it's good fun. It's highly competitive, and I reckon that preps you.
Sounds like it. It's
good.
IPL. So one player I want to point out as well, he took an incredible catch by his standards, just a dolly really, but Jake Fraser McGurk, so fielding really well. And then he was able to do something with the bat, which is really important, Blewy, because he hasn't maybe gone in the trajectory he might thought of 12 months ago when he made his name for himself in the IPL.
Yeah, so it looked like he played a nice, steady innings. They weren't chasing a huge total, so got the side off to a good steady start, and then they obviously, got the points as well. So good to see, because as you said, I mean, it's been a pretty lean time. He didn't have a great summer, so this is an important IPL too. He's obviously gone for big money this time round. Played for virtually nothing last season, but obviously played beautifully, and now he's on a decent payday. So a bit more pressure this year, and didn't start off very well in the first game, but it's nice to see a good little contribution in his second game.
I wonder if Faf du Plessis might be really good for Jake. Obviously, we speak a lot on this podcast, and probably it's been heavily spoken around the summer as well about his gears, and he's basically all or nothing at times. But having someone like Faf in your side who's been there, done it in the world game, is still going at 40, is still contributing. What a great sort of mentor to have. KP as well, actually, more to the point, like probably a little bit more like Jake Fraser McGurk. Two guys that are in your corner, probably helping him through this little rough patch and probably teaching him a bit about the game as well. So I reckon he's in a really great place moving forward, and hopefully he keeps making runs, but hopefully he learns a lot through this little period from some really good leaders in the game. Yeah,
if you haven't seen it, have a look at that catch he took in the deep.
Screamer.
Beauty. And later in the week, Hads as Kings take on Lucknow, Mitch Marsh, that is. So, all power to Hads, and we wish him well, of course.
Go Lucknow.
Yeah. Delhi are favourites now, you do realise?
Delhi look good, I will say that. RCB scarily look good as well, which, I mean, I feel like they look good every year and we harp on about them and then they don't win a trophy, but I feel like this year they're
Joshy
got something about him, but Josh still hasn't played at Chinnaswamy, so I'm waiting for the game that Josh plays at Chinnaswamy, and then we'll know more.
Fair enough. We'd love to hear from you on Instagram as well about the IPL, what you think of it in 2025, and who do you reckon the standouts are. So flick us a message on Instagram or TikTok, and we'll read it out here on Willow Talk. Now, Blewy, get to the important part here. So that the 30-year anniversaries of your Test debut, where you not raised the bat. Fantastic. Nice little partnership with Uncle Ian. How did he guide you through that, Ian Healy, that particular occasion?
No?
Sounds about right.
Not very well. It was all about heels at that stage. I was just, guy playing his first game up the other end. He sort of just basically ignored me. Got out when I was in the 90s the next day as well, so didn't get me, guide me to 100. So, in a nutshell, no, he was shithouse, actually. No help at all. No, I love him. I love your uncle. I saw him a couple of days ago, and he was actually very good for my career. So, he was good to bat with.
I just love that he's affectionately known as Uncle Ian everywhere.
Yeah.
on the podcast.
On this podcast.
He is Uncle Ian.
We'll have to get him on. Absolutely. But also the anniversary of that wonderful tour in the Windies, Blewy, that you went on, and we all think as tourists that touring the Windies is fantastic, but you were there for a job that you accomplished, finally getting past this West Indies side who still had a damn good lineup. Lara, Richie Richardson, Curtly Ambrose, Courtney Walsh. It was a damn good side, and you guys were a damn good side as well. What's your endearing memory of that time in the Caribbean?
Well, firstly, I want to say I can't believe I'm talking about all these anniversaries from 30 years ago. It's very, very scary. But look, that was my first ever tour for the Australian side. So it was just full of great memories. I really got to know some individuals in that team as well. It was Ricky Ponting's first tour as well. So we became quite close. I think I'm about 2 years older than Ricky, so we had a few things in common, which was great. But I do remember we had so much time off in between the games. It was unbelievable. And a lot of the test matches finished early as well. So we're either sort of drowning our sorrows or we were loving a decent win, and we were sort of on the catamarans going around the islands and that, having a great time. Obviously, we trained pretty hard in between the games as well. But also I remember about that series was the fielding. The catching was just off the charts. Like both sides just caught everything. But that was, to me, that was like the handing over of the guard, I suppose. Like West Indies had dominated world cricket up until that time. It was the first time they'd been beaten at home for, I think, close to 20 years. And from then on, once we'd sort of gotten over the line on that tour, that I think the Australian cricket team sort of went to the next level, and that was the start of a really dominant decade or so for the Australian cricket team. So, but great memories, mate. It was just a great tour.
How long was it then? You had so much time between games. How long was that with the tours back then? Because we know that nowadays in the modern game, tests are back to back, or you get maybe 4 or 5 days at max. So how long were you on tour for?
Well, again, it was 30 years ago, so I can't really remember. But there was a one-day series before the test matches well. So I reckon we might have been there for at least a couple of months, possibly.
I was thinking like 6 weeks or something, but that's plenty of time.
Yep. And I remember even, which I still can't believe, I've played in a test match with a rest day. So in that last test match that we played at Sabina Park, there was a rest day, which is quite unbelievable, really. So I'm a bit ashamed of that. But anyway.
We'll keep that one quiet.
Yeah, having a look at the schedules all through April, and then the first test was at the end of March. So, yeah, you were out of there. It was a 6-week test series, and then you're saying that you were there for a one-day series as well. I mean, obviously one of the endearing memories that gets replayed a fair bit, there've been countless stories told about it, Steve Waugh v. Curtly Ambrose in the middle there, and neither giving an inch. What were your memories of that, and was there a flow-on in the immediate aftermath from it?
Yeah, well, that's when it got to absolute fever pitch. I mean, and that was the other thing I loved about that tour as well, was that the crowds were still, they packed out every day, and there was a real carnival atmosphere, and just a great atmosphere at every single test match. And that particular game, there was a fair bit in the pitch, I remember, and I was next in to bat. And that was the most concerning thing for me. I didn't really care what Steve Waugh was doing and Curtly Ambrose was doing at the time. I mean, they're big men. They can work it out for themselves. But I was concerned about what was going to happen when I went out to bat. So I wasn't overly pleased with Steve's behaviour. But, remember Richie Richardson coming in to drag Curtly Ambrose away and sort of try and diffuse the situation. And the crowd was just going berserk. So, the whole test match had different sort of little flashpoints through it, but that was probably the biggest.
That flowed on to my career slightly, because when we went over there in 2018 for the T20 World Cup, I had Curtly Ambrose, Desmond Haynes, so I can't remember the other one, but they all came over. We were at training sessions at various places around the West Indies. They all came over asking for me, and I'm like walking up to all these legends of the game going, hello, and they were like, I played against your uncle. And they were like, tell him I still hate him. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I quite literally just had to apologise the whole time around the West Indies for Uncle Ian's behaviour every time he went and played Test cricket in the West Indies. So that I'm still living that down. But I mean, that's still, I was only a little tacker at the time, but I still remember sort of the flow on from that series, which is so cool. And that's probably why you love the game, right?
Well, Blewy, I just had a look at the scorecard there. That was when Steve Waugh got a double ton with that confrontation with Curtly. And then you came in and you got a few runs, 69 in fact, before you became the lone test dismissal. And this is against Courtney Walsh, Curtly Ambrose. So you've defended against them. Keith Arthurton. How the hell do you get out to Keith Arthurton when you've got a century on a platter in front of you? What happened?
Mate, I was I was smashing them as well, and he bowled this long hop, and I went back and just like absolutely creamed it straight to mid wicket, and just like went 100 miles an hour, and I can't remember who caught it. They just bang straight, and just walking off, going, "You absolute muppet!" I mean, we'd all spoken about getting through their best bowlers, and I mean they had 4 great bowlers, and then Keith Arthurton comes on and get you out. So that probably sums up my career, to be honest.
The beautiful thing is, Blue, I don't know if I mentioned there when I was off and rolling with the intro to that particular story, but it was his only test wicket.
Well, it gives me hope for my bowling career.
Was he bowling in his trademark floppy?
No, he did. No, he took the floppy off. But I did not know that. I didn't know that I was his only one. Shit,
that was charity. You've done him a favour. He's telling that story. He's been telling that story for 30 years.
Yeah,
Blewy.
he's on Caribbean Willow talking about it right
Remember that
now.
time I got Greg Blewett?
30 years ago. You never know what happened. I took my only test wicket. It was this idiot from South Australia who decided he was too good for me. Unlucky Blewy. Anyway, back to the modern day. A couple more questions for you. We were talking at the top about a great moment for South Australian cricket. So Travis Head has gone gangbusters in the last 2 years. Alex Carey, fantastic. Got me thinking, who is the greatest South Australian cricketer of all time? Who is revered as that? And is Travis Head and or Alex Carey, by the end of their career, perhaps going to be in the conversation?
Well, definitely Travis Head. He's doing a lot of great things at the moment. I think what I love about Heady is that he's just the way he sets up his game. That he's a genuine match winner. So a lot of when he does play well, he's player of the match, or if he has a great series, player of the series. I mean, I don't know too many other South Australians that have been able to do that, but Don Bradman, are we claiming the Don? Because
I did wonder that.
Claiming him.
Import, born and bred. That I should have set the parameters.
Born and bred.
Born and bred.
Born and bred. Geez, he's got to be right up there. He really does, because
I mean the Chappells have come into the conversation, wouldn't they?
Yeah, the Chappells. But they imports or not? Or they left. GC left Adelaide, didn't he? I think he went up to. Did he go to Queensland?
Yeah, he did.
And then you've got. Who else you got? Hooksy didn't play a hell of a lot of Test match cricket. You've got Boof, Tim May, Jason Gillespie's a bloody good cricketer.
But Trav and Alex are in the
some
combo.
of the older generations as well. What's that?
But Trav and Alex are in the convo going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Definitely Alex Carey now, and I think because he's now solidified his place in the side. I see him playing, another 30 Test matches at least, and same with Travis Head. So they by the end of their careers, they'll be right up there, definitely.
I think, and I'm preempting this, I think there will be a statue of Travis Head at the Adelaide Oval, and maybe a nice, quaint, garden bed or stand named after Alex. But there'll definitely be a statue of Travis Head.
With his 7-11 sunnies on?
Yeah, with his bat and his helmet.
Post-tournament?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that one from the India game. Potentially more to come, potentially in with the Ashes. You can't bet against him doing the same against England at Adelaide Oval in a few months' time. Just on that, where does he bat in the World Test Championship? He goes back, Blewy, down to middle order, and who you got opening? It's a big conundrum for the Australian selectors the next couple of months.
Yeah, it is. I'm keeping it pretty much the same. Like, I think the guys, the team that's got them there, I think deserve to play in that game. So I know there's a bit of talk around Marnus Labuschagne at the moment, but he's still my number 3. Opening the batting, obviously Usman's there. Sam Constas,
Cam Green.
I think that's I don't think. If Greeny is not bowling by that stage, which I don't think he will be, I don't think he gets in the side because he hasn't batted either. I know it probably depends on how he does in county cricket, but for me, he's got to be playing as the all-rounder or he doesn't play. So I'd be keeping it pretty much the same. I think the only question mark for me is that opening position. Do they go with Sam Constas or not?
Blewy, a couple more before we let you go, just general ones. We like throwing these in at the end of the podcast. Who's the best bowler you ever faced and the best batsman you ever bowled to, your 145k an hour medium pacers that you sent down?
Yes, yeah. 143 actually. But best bowler I ever faced was Curtly Ambrose.
Yep. After Steve pissed him off. Yep.
Yeah, Curtly Ambrose. And probably the best batter I ever bowled to was Brian Lara, I reckon, right up there, although I did nibble him out a couple of times. Just thought I'd throw that in there. And Sachin's got to be up there too, right? Sachin dealt with me on a few occasions on those flat pitches in India, so a couple of names for you.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad with the Willow, those two. I mean, imagine facing Hills. Imagine facing Curtly Ambrose when he's angry.
No.
Be like he's bowling from the top of a skyscraper.
Well, I'm only 5'1", and that would be an absolute... Blewy, you're not a whole heap taller than me, but like that would have been scary. It would have been terrifying.
No, and the long arms as well, Hill. So he's obviously very tall, but then you throw in the arms that are twice as long as everyone else's as well. But on the flip side of that, imagine facing me if you're Sachin Tendulkar on a flat track in India when you're already 100. Yeah.
Big front pad though, Blewy. Big front pad.
Right, a couple of our commentary as well, Blewy. Favourite person to have alongside you in the commentary box over summer?
Favourite person to have alongside of? There's not many. Channel 7, they're all dodgy characters. Look, I like working with Ricky, but mainly because I don't have to say much. He just, just loves hogging the mic and can't shut up. So I know I've got an easy half an hour if I'm on commentary with Punter. And the other one's probably phlegm. Like, mate, get over all those bowlology sayings. And, mate, everyone's had an absolute gutful. Just get some new material, please. Like the Avenue of Apprehension. Hang it up.
That was the most annoying in the commentary box then, was it?
Do you think though that
was
Ricky?
annoying.
Yeah. Do you think that Ricky has that down pat? So he's basically become Nostradamus in the commentary box. Everything that he seems to say seems to come to fruition. But is that because he keeps talking?
Yeah, that's right. Because none of us can get anything in, and I'm trying to get ahead of the game as well, and often I'll say it off mic and then he runs with it and then claims it as well. So, yeah, a few low blows there.
Blewy, it's been a pleasure having you along. You mentioned before that you're doing a podcast each week. Give that a little plug. We're happy to plug other podcasts on this podcast.
Yes, well, it's called Blewy and Jars Uncut. So I'm the Blewy. The Jars is Andrew Jarman, who used to play football for the Adelaide Crows. Got a much better brother in Darren Jarman, who's not on the podcast. But it's a good fun podcast. We talk mainly about South Australian sport and South Australian life. But as the potty sort of evolves, we'll probably sort of branch out a little bit, but it's only new. We've only had 3 episodes so far, but it's had a really good response so far.
Good stuff. Mate, as mentioned, thanks so much for fitting us in your golf schedule this week. Really appreciate it, mate. Hit him well. Thanks for joining us, and we'll get you back soon.
All right. Good on you guys. Thanks for having me.
Greg Blewett with us, and Alyssa Healy, you'll be with us later in the week as well.
I will be here.
Excellent. Yes. More Willow Talk on the way. Hope you enjoyed this one. Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.